Few moments. Wherever we live in the Commonwealth, we can always benefit from being open to the ideas and encouragement of those around us. Each of us can also make a positive difference in the lives of others by being willing to contribute and offer support. This is an essential ingredient of belonging to the Commonwealth, the willingness to share, to exchange, and to act for the common good. By including others, drawing on collective insights, knowledge, and resources, and thinking and working together, we lay the foundations of a harmonious and progressive society. The greater the diversity of those included in such a shared enterprise, the greater the gains. Each of us has cause to celebrate the sense of belonging expressed in our 2016 theme, An Inclusive Commonwealth. Our recognition of this value and the wisdom of mutual respect for each other is set out in the Commonwealth Charter. Its opening words, "We, the people of the Commonwealth," convey the conviction that individuals as well as governments build and shape our success. Being inclusive and accepting diversity goes far deeper than accepting differences at face value and being tolerant. True celebration of the dignity of each person and the value of their uniqueness and contribution involves reaching out, recognizing, and embracing their individual identity. At the recent Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, there were forums for women, youth, business, and civil society. These forums were a place for reflection on how to contribute collectively to achieving positive global change for which the Commonwealth is widely respected. Today and in the year ahead, the theme, An Inclusive Commonwealth, is an inspiration for us all. Let us give it practical effect by supporting those in need and those who feel excluded in all walks of life. By doing so, we will continue to build a truly representative Commonwealth community. At this point, I would like to invite to the podium to bring welcome remarks the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Bridgid Annisette-George. Would you put your hands together for her, please?
The President of the Senate, the Honorable Christine Kangaloo, members of the Executive Committee of Trinidad and Tobago Branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and other members of Parliament, High Commissioners and Honorary Consuls of Commonwealth countries resident in Trinidad and Tobago or their representatives, representatives of the Institute of International Relations, University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, teachers, specially invited guests, our students, members of the public, and the staff of the Office of the Parliament. A hearty good morning to you all. I am privileged to welcome you to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of all members of Parliament and the staff of the Parliament, to share in a day of celebration of Commonwealth Day 2016, a day which is shared and celebrated with 52 other nations, some of which are represented this morning through their High Commissioners and Honorary Consuls, and approximately 2 billion persons worldwide. This year's celebrations are being commemorated with the theme, An Inclusive Commonwealth. What does an inclusive Commonwealth mean, and why is it significant to us? The Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Mr. Kamalesh Sharma, in explaining the significance of the theme, stated as follows, and I quote, "An inclusive Commonwealth refers to the values of tolerance, respect, and understanding, as well as equity and fairness set out in the Commonwealth Charter, and the richness of the Commonwealth as a family of nations in which each member state is valued equally and has an equal voice. The Secretary General further underscored the relevance of the Commonwealth in the context of globalization, the digital revolution, and interdependence, which have had the effect of making the world not only a smaller place, but can lead to, in his own words, a colliding world. There could be not a more poignant statement than his conclusion that, and I quote, "The strength of the Commonwealth were never needed more to assert fairness in global outcomes and trust in the richness of our human identities." For the realization of the Commonwealth inclusiveness for its citizens, and by extension, global inclusiveness, there are many challenges to overcome. As youth, you shall have the opportunity to be active game changers and must find real solutions to problems such as conflict and violence, statelessness and refugees, crimes and violence against children and women, trafficking in persons and acts which support modern-day slavery, equality and rights for all, regardless of ethnicity, religion, and gender, hate crimes, domestic abuse, pestilence and disease, famine, and depletion of natural resources. Additionally, it shall fall to you to work in conjunction with other nations to achieve the targets, all 169 of the 17 SDGs by 2030. You shall be the leaders of your communities, institutions, and members of Parliament by then. It is the cooperation and mutual respect engendered by time-revered alliances such as the Commonwealth that shall be the drivers in finding the solutions which confront us now, and if unresolved, which shall be inherited by you. I urge you not to categorize today's event as purely an event of historic value, but embrace the lessons from the successes of the collaboration of diversity, respect, and cooperation, having worked for the common good. And consider how, as youth, you can utilize the values of the Commonwealth to the imperatives of the new world common good, while also incorporating harmony, sensitivity, and respect in your daily interactions. May I ask each of you, in a demonstration of your personal acknowledgement of the values of the Commonwealth, to stand, extend your hand to the person to your immediate right, committing to strength in diversity, mutual respect, and cooperation. So may I invite you all to stand and extend your hand to the person to your right. That way everybody should shake somebody's hand. Okay? And we are committing to diversity, mutual respect, and cooperation. The only person who shouldn't have somebody to shake their hand here is me. Even if somebody is not to your right, your hand would have been shaken by somebody to your left. And I say to you all, please have a seat. Thank you very much. To an inclusive Commonwealth, happy Commonwealth Day 2016. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. We now move on to our first item of entertainment this morning. On our programs, we have a monologue. The person who will be coming up this morning, his name is Allan Augustine. When I spoke to him this morning, he said, simply call me Allan the Entertainer. He's from Million Laffs, and he is going to entertain us with his own unique brand of humor. So put your hands together for Allan the Entertainer.
Good morning. I don't want to say, they say it's embarrassing to say all protocols observed. So I really was trying to get the names, but So the students, welcome. Happy Commonwealth Day to one and all. Senator Wademark, special good morning to you, sir. And I would like to say, candidly, I'm really thankful for this opportunity to come and do this little bit. I represent a company called Laffs. If you're looking for us on Facebook, it's Laffs, because I forget how to spell the other laugh, anyhow you take it. It's Laffs. And so we do comedy, right? And my name is Allan Augustine, otherwise known as Allan the Entertainer, and I thank God for this opportunity, as always. It's a very good day, not so? I just want to get something out of the way. Am I the first person here, the first time being here? Anybody else in the room here is the first time being here at the Parliament? Okay, so we have something in common. And we want to keep it in theme with Commonwealth. So I'm trying to find common grounds for us to relate. Yeah? Right, so so we could share, because just like these senator students, these dignitaries, they share something in common with us. I'm saying us because I really want to relate to these students as well. We went to school too. All they went to school when we went to school. You all had cafeterias, we had cafeterias. You all have friends, they sit down here with friends. These senators and dignitaries, they had friends. I had one friend. I probably had one friend in school all my life, that was it. You have teachers, loving teachers, who signed you up to come here today. And they don't beat all you or anything like that, they don't cut tail, yeah? And we, however, I don't think we had the same type of teachers. Yeah? I think my teacher, I remember in my days, my teacher and them, they were all too friendly when it's time to cut your tail. That's the friendliest time they see them come. They'll call it nice. It's time to dust the cloth and dust the table and wipe down the table. They'll call it, come and dust the table, please. But when it's time for licks, yeah, all too well. That's what we have in common inside this room right now. We don't know that. Personally, that's my journey here today. But I remember going to school a long time was entertainment. We didn't go to school only to learn, It's just to see how children will react when they get cut tail. And Senator, yeah, when you ever up in line for, you fought in line for licks. You watching everybody in front of you getting licks. Yeah, that's what we used to go and laugh. When recess time, we laughing during recess at who get licks and why. One boy come to school, he was skinny like this boy here. But listen. The boy was skinny, but down here was fat. The boy come to school looking like he's going to the Eskimo. Yes, why he going to school in snow? And I was like, but what going on with this fella? And the teacher, because we didn't do homework. Long time, when you didn't do homework, you're going to get curtailed. All you ain't gonna know about them things. I could talk to people who know about curtail for homework. And we used to get licks for homework. And when they call the boy, the teacher call him. Pop! 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 And the boy began to walk off. The teacher said, Pop! That is something like licks hitting, a whip hitting a bumsy. Bumsy don't make this song bap. He called him back, come sir, come. Upon his interrogation, he discovered the boy had on 4 pants and a copybook inside by bumsy. He said, oh, don't take it off. He had him one on the bumsy and one on the calf. He started dance. Listen, Chef Shakti dance group didn't want nothing like that boy that day. Hey, there was dancing galore. But one recess time they laughed at me, and I will tell you the true story. They laughed. Why they laughed at me? You see, that day, I sit in the front, and Anthony Garcia, not the Minister of Education, Anthony Garcia, but I had an Anthony Garcia in my class. And he sat down in the back. The boy take this piece of paper, pelted at me, back in my head. I turn around, pelt him back, don't do that. Sir didn't see when Anthony pelt me. Sir only saw when I responded. No. The thing about me is, when you call me for licks long time, you're going to get theatrics. I will start. Not one lash yet. And Sir would call me calm, but Sir Anthony calm. Now you're taking the time to walk for the licks. You're not in a hurry for it. 2 days later, I reached my licks. And Sir was waiting. Now, I need to tell all of this. You see, just before Anthony pelted me, my bladder was full with water. And being the considerate student that I am, I didn't want to disturb the teacher to go and use the bathroom. I said, you know what? I would wait till bell ring, then go. But you know, the man didn't take me on. When I tell him, I reach up and I say, you know what? And he hold my pants. Now, teachers had different moves. And a long time again, legs would whip long like that. All you know about them things, I could talk to the people who nobody long whip. Long like that. And so do something called the ring and pull. All you know this ring and pull? The teacher hold your pants here and ring it and pull it. So I get the ring and pull. And so hit me from here. And I say, sir, I want to, sir, I want to, sir, I want to, Now, I did went to pee after, but I didn't make it to the bathroom. I went right where I stood. And I'm watching it pee on the ground on my leg, and so watching me, and I watch it. I went to pee. The only thing I went for was the mop that morning. And trust me, folks, it was all over. They laughed all recess time. Moral of the story is, whenever you have to pee, go. Because Anthony Garcia would have never do that paper that morning. Thank you, folks. That's my time. God bless.
Put your hands together again for Allan, the entertainer. I have to let Allan know that I don't know that thing about licks that he's talking about. I think I belong on this side, not that side. All right, tough act to follow, but following Allan would be greetings by the High Commissioner for Canada, His Excellency Gerard Latulippe. Could you please put your hands together and welcome Excellency.
Well, good morning. I am here to provide remarks not to be a stand-up comics, not at least in this environment. Senator Honorable Christine Kangaloo, President of the Senate. Honorable Bridgid Mary Annisette-George, Speaker of the House, Ministers of Government, members of the Executive Committee of Trinidad and Tobago Branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, High Commissioners and Honorary Consuls of Commonwealth countries resident in Trinidad and Tobago or their representatives, teacher, students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and good morning, bonjour. I would like to thank the Commonwealth Parliament Association for giving me the opportunity to bring greetings on behalf of the High Commissioner from the countries of accredited in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the Honorary Consul for Commonwealth countries, and on behalf of the government and the people of Canada on the occasion of Canada Day. Commonwealth Day is an opportunity to reflect on the strength that our diversity represents for Commonwealth member states and the association itself. This year Commonwealth theme, an inclusive Commonwealth, speaks to the importance of ensuring that the diversity is protected and promoted as an important contribution to the development and prosperity of all member states. As member of the Commonwealth, our governments appreciate the forum the organization provides to discuss key issues in keeping with the priorities and values that we all share. This is the best way to ensure inclusivity for all our citizens. Above all, the most important role played by the Commonwealth is its promotion and upholding of its core values. These include respect for democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, all of which are critical for the development and prosperity of its member state, and the well-being of the more than 2 billion people in its membership. Our governments were all represented at the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting in Malta in 2015, which presented the opportunity to chart the course for the future direction of the organization. Leaders and ministers as constructive discussion on key issues such as climate change, sustainable development, human rights, migration, and countering violent extremism. This was made all the more urgent in the wake of the Paris terrorist attack last year and the rising level of global displacement and refugee flows. This was also a series of civil society fora and active multi-stakeholder dialogue with leaders and ministers. At the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting, our nations also choose by consensus a new Secretary General, Baroness Scotland from Dominica. We congratulate her and we look forward to her assumption of office on April the 1st. We also thank Secretary General Kamalesh Sharma for his 8th year in office. Baroness Scotland has indicated that the overriding objective of her first term will be bringing the 53 member states of the Commonwealth closer together. With this context, she plans to encourage greater Caribbean integration. The new Secretary General has also called upon member states to fight corruption, gender inequality, and violence against women. I think we can all agree that these are important topics that we need to address together. Another key outcome at SHOGM was leaders' agreement towards an ambitious outcome on climate change going into COP21. The discussion leading to the adoption of the Commonwealth Statement on climate change, on climate action, was important in preparing the ground for the Paris meeting. I would like to note that since the Commonwealth inception, Canada has played a significant role and is its second largest contributor. In 2015-2017, this year, Canada contributed approximately $9.7 million in assessed contribution to the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Commonwealth Foundation. We and our like-minded partners also seek to encourage a focus by the Commonwealth on supporting the 2030 Agenda Sustainable Development Goals. These would be in area of its comparative advantage, such as small island states issues, exchange of best practice in governance, human rights and democracy, and election monitoring, amongst others. Many of our Commonwealth governments have expressed the belief that strong leadership and a reorientation toward the organization's fundamental core values will be required for the Commonwealth Secretariat to remain a relevant multilateral organization. The nations of the Commonwealth will work with the new Secretary General to build on SHOGAM 2015 and the positive trends emerging with the organization, including encouraging Commonwealth to focus its area on value added to fully realize its potential. Thank you very much. Good Commonwealth Day 2016.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner. We now move on to our second item of entertainment today, and this will be done in two parts. We have both Mr. Michael Logie and Miss Ariel John, who will be performing spoken word. First one, then the other. This is how it was introduced to me. So, I would like to please welcome them to the podium. Well, clearly my notes were mixed up. This is not Mr. Michael Logie.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everyone. Hi, it is a pleasure to be here, all protocol observed. I am a member of the 2 Cents Movement. I'm here with my colleague. The 2 Cents Movement is a non-profit youth organization that deals with, uses the art of spoken word poetry to reach young people and to connect with them and encourage them to speak out. So, in the spirit of using youth voices to address the issues within the mandate of the Commonwealth, I have this poem for you this morning, and I hope that you enjoy. How to not swallow your voice by mistake. 1. Remember your tongue is made of muscle, able to lift a whole people with the strength of its hopeful, but that the idol of words would only wake weakness behind the prison it makes of your jaw. 2. Remind yourself that you were born like this, that the creator of the universe whispered breath into your being, carved a source for your speech, and gave sound to your speaking. Nothing unused remains available for long. 3. Remember the legacy giving faith to your lungs, that those who came before you and planted their songs in your sleep, whose footsteps you mimic, who had you summoned from the mustard seed of your mother, they with hands clasped together in their desperate, waiting for some savior of their children, some prophet worthy enough to be the outcast in his or her homeland. 4. That your voice is more resource than reservoir, that your throat will not be turned into some gas chamber of words fermenting like last month in your mouth, that there will be no hindrance in your fluency to talk, because truth has a way of keeping its secrets public. 5. Remember the music of your insides and not how it comes out, that your native tongue should feel like home and hood settled between your teeth should bury their bags into your gums and vow to never leave. Something about the way you speak accentuates the steep in your soul. 6. Remember the traffic of air in your chest when fear froze you. Remember that not being able to move or articulate or say anything, you, a blank staring statue in your most off-guard moment. How we confront ourselves in silence like hermits praying in a language only fit for the ears of God. 7. Sometimes when you shout, it only gets people to hear how loud you are. 8. That energy is neither created nor destroyed, but transferred from word into work. And there are some voids in life that cannot always be filled up by words. And so if you're not doing anything, well, then you're not doing anything. And that nothingness will quiet you. 9. Never bite off more than you could chew at once. It is the easiest way to stifle yourself. And that out-of-breath behavior will force silence down your mouth. 10. Do not pretend you found something so precious that you would lose yourself in pursuing it. 11. That whatever you commit to with words will bind itself to you, like the hinges of your bones, and hold you accountable, despite the best disclaimer you could ever come up with. And after 12 months of being in transit to the woman my spirit was waiting on me to become, there is just something about pressure that forces you to breathe through your mouth, and I feel like I just learned how to speak again. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. All protocols observed. I am Michael Logie from the Two Cent Movement, writer, poet. And we are speaking about Inclusive Commonwealth. But I believe that before we look to interact with other countries, we must first do it here, interact in our schools, in our neighborhood. And that's the poem that I'm going to present today. It's called Building an Inclusive Community. Look at us. Where are we going? I mean, we live in, we breathe in, and we were once employed in the most heavenly job, but we got fired. Now we're living in hellfire that we call home. A home that isn't even built. And not to say isn't, because we only focus on gathering material things. We intend to build a house that not even God will see fit. And I guess the foundation for building anything is a blueprint. So some people out here will do anything for the blueprint because that's where our vision is lying. But if money is all that we're seeing, then our vision is lying. And after we achieve the blueprint, we focus on designing our clothes to comfort our souls that we already lost to fame, and fortune to comfort our souls that we already lost to greed. Because once someone seems to be well dressed or dressed better than us, we become covetous. For some clothes, I hope we don't be angry when we make our way up to heaven and see that there's a sign on the gate saying, clothes. Then we put a roof on our evil homes. We make sure that every piece of wood snaps neatly into place. We make sure that every living ounce of flesh on this earth gets his neck snapped out of place. And the roof is only completed after we finish treating our brothers like dogs. Roof. And that's the house that we build. The devil's paradigm. The devil's paradise. But what we need to do is get up and remove our disguise and realize that the only blueprint we should be chasing is disguise, because we need God. And we need to understand that it doesn't matter if your God is a blue, black, green, or yellow man. It doesn't matter. So let's put an end to the hate and stop utter the negative insults to the Indians, Africans, Chinese. Let's take our minds out of the gutter and make amends, and then graciously wear the fabric that our maker mends. Let's mend together a community from the 1-month-old child to the 95-year-old granny, and it's only then when all are involved another important commodity for our house evolves. A tank. And we can all use our hearts to fill the tank with love and feel the true essence of being tank. The youths must produce the spark to shock the elders, and the elders must be good conductors of these shocking results. It takes a village to raise a child, but only one crooked child to raise a village into chaos. So let us put an end to the hate and raise the younger generation into believing that we have the strength and the power to raise up ceilings. We have the strength and more power in our souls than power gen. So come on, clap your hands if you think we should empower our women. I know grandparents to be sweet like cane sugar, so let us not leave our grandpas and grannies to decay, but instead let's be the cane that they use to get across the street. My granny, she wears a cross around her neck, so I am praying for from now till the time she cross paths with death. Parents, don't disappear. Be a peer to your kids, mother and father. And don't ever leave bruises on their skin. As for me, I'm not going to hurt you, but I am going to leave you with a bruise. Hebrews 10:24. Let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, because everyone deserves to be loved if we are to build a global, inclusive community. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both Ariel John and also Michael Logie. That was beautiful, wasn't it? It was. Give him a round of applause. We now move ahead in our program and we come to our feature presentation. The topic of today's presentation is An Inclusive Commonwealth, Trinidad and Tobago's Role in the Commonwealth. And presenting it today is our feature speaker, Dr. Mark Kirton, who is the Acting Director of the Institute of International Relations. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. Honorable Christine Kangulu, President of the Senate, Honorable Bridgid Annisette-George, Speaker of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, members of Parliament, ministers of government, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. And I should say, I wonder if I could use the language of youth and say big up to my young friends. It is for us at the Institute of International Relations a distinct honor and pleasure to have been invited to share Commonwealth Day, and the theme, Inclusive and Inclusive Commonwealth, is both timely and relevant. And I must say up front that the founding leaders of Trinidad and Tobago embraced the concept and framework of inclusion. And as I heard the lusty singing this morning, where every creed and race finds an equal place, is indeed indicative of that spirit of inclusion, which undoubtedly was part of the thinking many moons ago. We look at today, and one might ask, what is the Commonwealth and what is inclusion? And my view is that inclusion must be seen, or implies an act or a state of being engaged or incorporated into a group or structure. And therefore, here we see need for an inclusive Commonwealth, in which, therefore, must be seen as a grouping based on togetherness and a shared vision, a family of nations, as one of the speakers before me indicated, where the sharing of common experiences and challenges that could help indeed to create a pathway to development which embraces all of the citizenry of the Commonwealth. Indeed, in a world in which inequality and exclusion are still alive, the theme of this year's Commonwealth Day gives us the opportunity to reflect and review where we are and recommit to the principles of equality, where everyone should be treated equally, equity, levels of fairness, and respect and love. Indeed, in a world challenged by violent extremism, threats to global and regional peace, persistent poverty, the call by the Commonwealth for inclusion is timely and relevant. Indeed, with inclusion, states can manage diversity and in the process make citizens like you, my youthful colleagues, feel valued and equal. Indeed, as we attempt to look at Trinidad and Tobago's role in the Commonwealth, in order to put it in context, I think it is important to understand the background, the role, the diversity of the Commonwealth itself. And we have a short video which would indicate the Commonwealth's vision. Indeed, as they say, you know, the information superhighway and the technology is sometimes also maze. However, indeed, when one looks to the Commonwealth, we see a voluntary association, 53 independent sovereign states, and basically founded in 1949 in the spirit of cooperation for mutual advantage and a set of states united by common ideals. As was indicated, and we heard the message from Queen Elizabeth II, the head of the Commonwealth is the Queen, and the Secretary General, as we also heard, who will be installed on April 1st, is Baroness Patricia Scotland, who comes from the Caribbean. And indeed, we see the Caribbean in some ways punching above its weight in the international community, and specifically at this time in the Commonwealth. When we look at the Commonwealth itself, we see a diversity in membership across the regions of the world, from Africa, Asia, the Caribbean and the Americas, Europe and the Pacific. Countries as diverse as Botswana, Mozambique, Malaysia, the Maldives, the Commonwealth of the Caribbean, states Trinidad and Tobago, from Antigua to Trinidad and Tobago, Cyprus in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea. So one already recognizes the diversity of membership. The Commonwealth today is poised to ensure that many of the developmental issues which face the region are being addressed in significant ways. We see, for example, the question of climate change, of the impact of rising sea levels, which are threatening our countries in the small states of the Caribbean. And we look at the vulnerable nature of small Caribbean states. Some argue that there are threats, as we speak, to the resilience of our small states based on the negative environmental impact, based on the effects of climate change. We've seen the vulnerabilities of our economies, lowering in commodity prices. In the case of Trinidad and Tobago, the reduction in energy prices and the reduction in demand for other industrial goods. And this too, to my mind, indicates a need for togetherness and inclusion, which are features of the Commonwealth in today's world. We note that the Commonwealth has had a significant impact on the electoral process. The presence of international observer missions from the Commonwealth have lent to greater confidence in the electoral process amongst peoples of the Commonwealth. When we look at some of the positive attributes of the Commonwealth, we see a potential for a strong transformative role from exclusion to engagement. We see the fostering of diversity. And here I think the diverse nature of Trinidad and Tobago and the efforts being made to ensure that diversity is, in a sense, developed strongly would augur well for Trinidad to become a model to the Commonwealth in its efforts at diversity, cultural, ethnic, and other forms, which can create a more just and valued society. We see the Commonwealth also as an important forum for dialogue and cooperation. Here we see where small states, like those of the Caribbean, like Trinidad and Tobago, have the opportunity to help set an agenda, an important agenda, where in some other organizations globally, because of the smallness of size and maybe slimness of resource base, small states are only seen as appendages. But one might argue here that in the Commonwealth, we see the Caribbean states and we see Trinidad and Tobago leading in setting an agenda for the future of our people. It's indeed not only a bilateral engagement, but the Commonwealth can be used as a significant platform for multilateral approaches to development, as we see Trinidad and Tobago leading in our region. In terms of the Charter, when we look at the Charter, and I'm sorry that we cannot see it too very well there, we see some very important characteristics and features of the Charter of the Commonwealth, which impact small states of the region and Trinidad and Tobago in particular. Issues of democracy, human rights, the struggle for peace and security, tolerance, respect and understanding, the freedoms of expression and association, a separation of powers, adherence to the rule of law, good governance, sustainable development, environmental protection, equal access to health, education, food and shelter, gender equality, the importance of young people in the Commonwealth, a recognition of the needs of small states and vulnerable states, and the role of civil society as being critical for the development of countries like Trinidad and Tobago. And as we look at that list, we see a set of values and aspirations which must unite countries of the region. And one could argue here a leadership role can be played by Trinidad and Tobago in that process, as we commit to developing a region with shared values and aspirations. When we look at democracy, we see the engagement of our people and power exercised directly by the people and their agents in a free electoral system. And Trinidad and Tobago must be complemented and must be seen as playing an important international role in supporting and maintaining a free electoral system which undoubtedly could serve as a model for many states in the Commonwealth. We also are of the view that building and strengthening of democracy and legal systems for member countries of the Commonwealth must be sustained. And indeed, when one looks at the kind of support that the government of Trinidad and Tobago lends to international missions, indicates quite clearly a strong commitment to the enabling of citizen participation and representation at all levels in the Commonwealth. We see another area being economic development. And the Commonwealth aims, as we mentioned here, to assist and to help improve the management of economies and to work closely with partners across the Commonwealth to develop new initiatives for economic growth and prosperity. Once again, it is my view that Trinidad and Tobago, with its vast experience in managing economic development, can have a significant role to play in engaging especially smaller states of the Commonwealth and sharing experiences, challenges, and the levels of resilience which have been exhibited to bring about the stronger and more sustainable development of the Commonwealth region. As we note, the Commonwealth has had an important role to play in major global fora, such as the UN, the World Bank, the IMF, G20, etc. And indeed, the Caribbean, through its representation in the Commonwealth, has been able to make a contribution, especially in the recent UN post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals, which one can argue will pose another challenge to the Caribbean, but it is my view that together, in the spirit of integration and unity, and with a very strong role and contribution of Trinidad and Tobago, can augur well for Caribbean development. We see also the role of technical assistance. Trinidad and Tobago, as a member of the Commonwealth, has been providing technical assistance across Commonwealth states. And one could argue here that that role could be enhanced. We see smaller Commonwealth states now having areas of developing the petrochemical industry. In the case of Guyana, my own country of birth, I'm confident that Trinidad and Tobago, with its experience, can chart a course for a small state like Guyana as it develops its petrochemical sector. We see the Commonwealth also supporting institutions which have protected and promoted human rights. And there have been important contributions made by the Commonwealth in the region, and especially in other parts of, in parts of Africa. So that the issue of human rights is one that has to be on the front burner and remain on the front burner. And one could argue here that one of the roles of Trinidad and Tobago in the region as a Commonwealth state is to continue to promote the respect for human rights and tolerance across the smaller states of the region. And as we look at small states, we see where those are defined as sovereign countries with a population of 1.5 million or fewer, and that there are 11 small states in the Commonwealth based on this definition. But we see the role for equal voice. We see the role for small states, especially those of the Caribbean, to develop the kind of unity and strength which will enable them to further contribute to decision-making which affect all of them, including climate change. Indeed, small states with limited resources face significant challenges, including dependence on a narrow range of products, high transportation costs due to insularity and remoteness, dependence on strategic imports such as food and fuel, susceptibility to natural disasters, and climate and environmental change, a decline in global trade and investment, the lack of readily available information for investors and trading partners, and a limited capacity to harness growth opportunities. These are some of the areas, to my mind, that Trinidad and the region will have to put as priority areas in order to ensure that the inexorable march of globalization does not impact negatively. We see susceptibility to natural disasters across the small states of CARICOM and Commonwealth Caribbean states. We see dependence on a very narrow range of exports. And when commodity prices fall, we note the downturn in Caribbean economies. And I think that it will be critical for a kind of leadership to be established and sustained once again by Trinidad and Tobago as we move to ensure that diversification of economies, starting with the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, and the development of a sense of resilience is established and maintained. We look at youth. The Commonwealth 53 member countries have a combined population of more than 2 billion, of which more than 60% are under 30 years of age. And I think that is an important component of our peoples. Where do we see the youth? How do we ensure that young people, that we invest in young people and ensure that we empower them to take the leadership roles in the future? And I think this is one element where Trinidad and Tobago, one component of development, which, when I looked at the data, the access to GATE funding, access to education, is seen as a priority. And therefore, in my view, it would be important, once again, for Trinidad to enhance this process and ensure that the empowerment is maintained and developed. It is indeed also important that very strong and sustainable youth policies be developed, and to ensure that wider frameworks are developed where the tools for development are easily available, and that investment in the youth is always seen as a priority and would continue to be so. We've seen where Trinidad and Tobago has been the venue for one of the Commonwealth heads of government meetings. And coming out of that was a commitment to the basic principles and the charter of the Commonwealth itself. We note that the 2015 theme of the Commonwealth, adding global value and creating a more prosperous Commonwealth, was taken on board. And Prime Minister, the Honorable Keith Rowley, has committed to developing strategies and maintaining a hold and a commitment to dealing with the many complex issues which threaten and constrain development and stability in the Commonwealth. Now we see, in a sense, what is important at this time to look at some perspectives on Trinidad and Tobago's role. How could it be a model for the Commonwealth in some areas? We see Trinidad and Tobago as a model for inclusive education. That model, I believe, has to be developed significantly. We see the GATE program, and although I've recently learned that it's being reassessed, I think that this created the kind of skills base which ought to be transferred across, especially across Commonwealth small states. And inclusive education must include equal access to disabled, to all youth, which undoubtedly must also be enhanced in this development of a model. We've seen Trinidad and Tobago developing new learning spaces through ICTs. And I think that is an important element of educational development. And we're programs which impact the skills base of our youth are being developed. Social inclusion, citizen security, which challenges all of our states in the region, and maybe all of the Commonwealth states. And we see a role for the citizen in being part of any new direction in developing strategic areas for the enhancement of security or the reduction of insecurity, whichever side of the fence you want to come from. We must therefore see enhanced citizen participation, and small enterprises and entrepreneurship must become a front border issue also, especially women and female heads of households. We can see a role for Trinidad in providing the experiences so that the small states can develop resilience through economic diversity, as I mentioned. And we talk about manufacturing beyond the oil and natural gas sectors. We saw a dedication to health for citizens, as demonstrated by the CDAP program in Trinidad. And I believe that with the Commonwealth's move towards university health coverage, with an emphasis on aging and good health, we can see Trinidad's reassessment of CDAP and its potential for moving that process and program across the Commonwealth states as another potential role for Trinidad in the development process in Commonwealth states. I would say that given the destructive effect and the impact of social and economic inequality and exclusion, which has left our world with the urgent need to transform the global environment and push back the barriers which currently prevent a significant segment of society from inclusive engagement in several areas of national life must be addressed as matters of urgency. I also see a role for Trinidad because of its experience in sports, being a model in the Commonwealth for youth development. Since the development of sports, which engages diverse communities and promotes inclusion, can be used to reinforce the practice of social engagement, teamwork, and team spirit. And we've seen the exploits starting from Hazley Crawford to Brian Lara in sports. And therefore, and we see Trinidad as one of the first small states to reach the World Cup finals, or the final round of the World Cup. And therefore, we see this as a catalyst for empowering youth through teamwork and team spirit. And it also provides an important framework and platform for promoting inclusion and empowerment. Finally, I would say that while Trinidad and Tobago remains committed to international cooperation and the Charter of the Commonwealth, it is for you youths to take the mantle and to run with those several important areas of development. And the Commonwealth, since it plays an essential role in advancing the economic, social, and political issues of small states, must also be assisted by your efforts at ensuring inclusion and inclusiveness in your own communities. I would therefore advise and implore that you youth develop and maintain a sustained focus on education for critical consciousness and strive for excellence and engage in the process of development in a most sustained manner. I therefore would like to say to you, one love, and ensure that in the spirit of integration, we deal with the words of Bob Marley. As he says, one love, one heart. Let's get together and we'll feel all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kirton. Dr. Kirton, I think you better stay at the podium because we next have a question and answer session. I think that's the best place for you to answer questions from. You got a lot of information in a short space of time from Dr. Kirton on the topic of inclusion and Trinidad and Tobago's role in the Commonwealth. At this point, we have a question and answer session, and what we're going to do is we're going to place a microphone in the center aisle. And I know I saw some students on this side feverishly writing throughout the presentations. I know you all have one or two questions here. So what you'll do is you just raise your hand so we recognize you. You go to the podium and you pose your question, and Dr. Kirton or whoever is qualified to answer the question will answer. So in Parliament, when we used to do school outreach, we normally have a rule where the person who asks the first question usually gets a prize. So that might be in play here. So can we see a show of hands if anybody who has a question for Dr. Kirton? And this is not a place to be shy at all. I'm sure we can take about three or four questions before we move on. Wait, now you're so shy, you're not asking any question. All that writing that was going on there, you all don't have any question? Nah, no, man. Okay, I have one person. Maybe it might be easier to get the microphone to her instead of having her, this young lady. Yeah.
What is socio-econ status?
What is socio-econ status? Probably something that you saw in one of the presentations. Socio-economic status?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right. Want to
attack your phone. Okay. Do you prefer?
pardon?
You prefer to?
The issue of socioeconomic status.
That's the question.
Which is used basically in economics, and it indicates the particular space of the individual in the social stratum and the economic level at which they operate. In a sense, what we might say in layman's terms, and I'm a layman in this business, in a sense, the socio-economic status of an individual could be seen as a reflection of some indicators, employment, the position in terms of wages, the level of education and social attainment, and it is a criterion, perhaps, used by some of the international agencies and organizations to benchmark or to in a sense, evaluate individuals in a particular environment or jurisdiction.
Okay.
Now, an example may be socioeconomic status. I mean, look at mine. I'm a member of the working poor. You might have a particular salary scale. My engagement in social activities, and maybe an economist in our midst may have a more focused definition that you can offer for a long.
All right. Okay. I understand that it is in fact better for you to use the microphone, and that's because of the persons who are filming. If we take the microphone to you, then they have to scramble to find where you are. Whereas if you go to the mic in the aisle, they know exactly where you're going to be. So show of hands, there was somebody in the back who had a, All right. Well, the rule applies for everybody, you know, Doc. Yeah. Yeah, just go to the mic.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to the speaker, good morning to the students. I am Senator Mahabir, and I thought the question, ably answered, of course, by a presenter, can be elaborated upon a bit. The socioeconomic status, I think you all are interested in what it is. Two concepts, social and economic. When we are dealing with economic status, we are simply looking at your income and the ability you have. But you all in school are going to look forward to having high economic status because of the return to your education. You want your education to give you a lot of income. You want your education to enable you to achieve your goals, your career objectives. You want your education not only to give you income, but also respect in society. And that's the economic status. When you look at the social status, you understand that there are many people in the society who do not have much income, but they are held in high regard and high esteem. A priest, for example, a religious leader, does not earn much income. A social worker. These are the exemplars you look towards, and these are the people who don't earn too much income, but they have a lot of social status. What you all are looking for really is a combination. That is, you want the income and you want the respect. And I know all of you in this audience will get that. But you get that by doing one thing. You get it by doing something very productive for the society. You get it by having an important job, being a computer programmer. You get it by being someone who makes a contribution in that way. And everybody says, yes, she is entitled to that income. And she is entitled to be told, good morning, ma'am. You are a very important person in the corporation. So I hope that kind of elaborates and clarifies. And in the Commonwealth, we want all the underprivileged people, all the people now who, like as Malala once said, there are some girls in Africa who are not going to school. We want those girls to have the education so that they will in turn, in a very short period of time, in our lifetime, have the status and the respect of being an individual, the economic status of having a high income, so that all of us across the world in globalization can experience a standard of living that we consider to be acceptable by all. I thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahabir. There was someone in the back that had a question as well. Feel free to come to the microphone at this time. Don't let shyness stop you, you know. Just give her a round of applause and make her feel welcome.
Well,
I don't want to put you on the spot, but just let us know your name and school.
my name is Cherise Lachman
Okay,
from
yeah.
Kuwait Secondary.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to know how much Commonwealth countries it had, because first it said 52, and then I saw in the presentation it had 53, so I wasn't too sure.
Okay.
What may be the disconnect is that I said 52 other countries.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So 52
Yeah.
plus Trinidad.
Plus Trinidad and
Yeah.
Tobago.
Madam Speaker had said 52 other countries, and she didn't include Trinidad and Tobago, whereas it's 53.
Other
All right.
countries.
Yeah, she said 52 other countries. All right.
They were-
They're sharp, you know. Not missing anything, you know. At all. To be on your P's and Q's. Okay, is there any other question? Just show of hands. Don't be shy. Yeah. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. This is St. James Secondary. Just let us know your name as well.
Is the Commonwealth active to helping Trinidad and Tobago achieve anything at the moment?
Is the Commonwealth
The
active?
Commonwealth
Yeah.
active to helping Trinidad
Actively helping Trinidad and Tobago achieve?
anything at the moment?
Okay.
I don't know if one of my colleagues, from the data And I think maybe I can ask someone else after I would have, given an initial response. I would say that Trinidad has been actively engaged in Commonwealth activity and has received first of all, I would say that to ensuring that the electoral process remains robust, that it received the Commonwealth Observer Mission during the last elections, could that be confirmed? Right? Yeah, that's a fact. And I would say that that demonstrated to the people, and it added, I believe, a level of confidence in the process to the people of the country. I would say that also in terms of its capacity to share the experiences and to learn from the experiences of other Commonwealth states, I think Trinidad has been a net beneficiary of its engagement in the Commonwealth's activities. But maybe there may be some specific areas which my colleagues and friends may want to respond.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good morning, students. Good morning to my colleagues. I just wanted to indicate, or to add to what was said, that for Trinidad and Tobago, one of the main issues that the Commonwealth assists us with is the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Because of that association with the parliaments throughout the Commonwealth, we have we gain a lot of learning on parliamentary matters, and we also contribute to the learning of the Commonwealth on these issues. So there's a close relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and the Commonwealth in terms of the parliamentary relationship. Additionally, for our people generally, there are Commonwealth scholarships that are tenable at different Commonwealth countries, so that we have students who have gone to India, who have gone to Canada, based on the Commonwealth relationship, and other Commonwealth countries. We have, over the years, sent teachers to our Commonwealth neighbors in the African continent. And right now, the Commonwealth Secretariat also works very closely with the government of Trinidad and Tobago in assisting with various matters where we may have a relationship with the other Commonwealth countries. So there has been a long-standing relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and the Commonwealth, and it has never waned, so that the question that was asked, whether there are issues that are currently engaging Trinidad and Tobago with the Commonwealth, it's in education, in energy, in parliamentary affairs, and several other matters, particularly education and parliamentary affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson-Regis. And in case you didn't know, that is the Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson-Regis.
I don't know if I might also add that the participation in the Commonwealth Games allows the sportsmen and women of Trinidad and Tobago to enhance their capacity by, through competition, and therefore I think that too is an activity that is mutually beneficial.
Okay, we have time for like one or two more. I saw about 3 hands, so let me see the hands. Is there anybody from a school that hasn't asked a question as yet? 1, 2. All right, you can go first, and the young lady in the back.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Steelen, and I'm from San Fernando East Secondary School, and I would like to know what is the purpose of the Parliament?
The purpose of?
Okay, ask your question as well. That's not really Commonwealth, but we'll answer it anyway. Nataki, you could take that one.
You want to go back?
All right, ask your question as well. We'll take you 2 questions.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kathy Batiste, and I'm from the San Fernando East Secondary School. Well, the minister mentioned that climate change should be addressed by the Commonwealth. Do you think that it is being addressed aggressively enough?
Do you think it's being?
Is it being addressed? Is climate change being addressed aggressively enough at the level of the Commonwealth? Thank you. You could have a seat.
All right.
You could have a seat.
Well, the first question asked was about the purpose of the Commonwealth.
It was actually Parliament. So I'm looking across at the members of Parliament here.
I'm sorry.
To see if anybody wants to take that one. Senator Small, we'll take that one.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, I will try to answer the questions that have been asked. Interested, I like to hear from the young people. The first question was very interesting. What is the Parliament? The purpose of the Parliament. Well, the purpose of the Parliament could be broader, it could be narrow. But here's what. There's something I read a couple of months ago where it says, and it goes like this. In every democracy, there's a parliament. But without a parliament, there'll be no democracy. So that the parliament is here to be the representative organization for all of you all, your friends, your families, where there's elected and appointed representatives. We come, we discuss issues of national importance, we chart a course, we draft legislation, and we are a body that report to you. We report to you, because if we don't do our jobs properly, then we may have to do another job. So this is important. You guys have the power. Everyone in this room, remember that the power is with you. We are merely the representatives who've been asked by you to take charge, to try to see how we could guide the country forward through legislation, through a number of activities. We have several committees that are oversight committees that look on at the various entities and arms of the government. We hold them to account financially and operationally. So being the Parliament is actually quite a comprehensive job. And the purpose of that Parliament is to make sure that the lives of the country, of all the citizens of the country, are going to be improved going forward. If we are not doing that job, it's up to you to say, guys, we don't think this group is doing a good job. We need another group. Yeah? And always remember, the power is with you. Yeah? The other question, interesting, the Commonwealth and climate change. Climate change is a multifaceted issue. Perhaps we should always understand the data. So forgive me, bear with me for a couple of seconds. 2015 was the hottest year ever in recorded history. Okay? And all, when they worked out all the average temperatures for the planet. January 2016 was the hottest January ever. So of all the Januaries gone before, January 16 was the hottest January ever gone. February 2016 was the hottest month ever recorded. So that the effects of climate change are here. Then it's not something way out that's going to begin to affect us in 100 years. It's here. Now, the Commonwealth as an organization has recognized that it's an urgent issue, especially for places like Trinidad and Tobago called small island developing states. Because one of the major issues or the negative effects of climate change is something called sea level rise, where with the constant warming of the earth, if you put a container of water in to boil, you would notice that the volume increases. So that as the planet warms, the sea level tends to rise. And because we are a small island, we have a reasonable elevation in Trinidad. But going forward, that is going to change. So that the response of the Commonwealth as a group, and I think Dr. Mahabi and I think one of the other speakers spoke about the role of the Commonwealth. The role of the Commonwealth is for us to work together to see how we can come up with solutions or mitigation measures that we can work together to solve all of our problems. Now, you will never solve everyone's problems individually, but what you do, it's important to be able to first talk about the issue. Second, get the data upon which we can make some hard decisions. And that is always, remember, you must always be able to talk, but you must always get the data. You guys, I shouldn't be telling you this, you guys probably do this for a living. You know that you're in school, you're always in the data. I'm always in the data. So that climate change is something that the Commonwealth and other organizations, including United Nations and a whole set of other, are looking at it because the effects are starting to be felt here. I want to leave you with one thing. There's something called a climate departure date. It's a piece of research that if anyone is interested, you should go look at the University of Hawaii website, and they did a study. And here's what that study says, the short version, that in a particular year going forward, after that year, whatever was the hottest day ever in your country, from that year going forward, whatever was the hottest day will be the coolest day ever going forward. So if the hottest day was 36 degrees, going the next year, that will be your coolest day going forward. It's an interesting piece of research because it speaks to the effects. And for information, the year of climate departure for Trinidad and Tobago is 2032. So it's in your lifetimes. I have 2 young boys also going to school in Form 1. So I probably am part of the problem, and I will try to be part of the solution. But here's what. A lot of the solutions are going to be driven by you guys. You guys here represent the future. You guys are the ones who are going to be saying, what were these old guys doing all along? Yeah? So that, and I want us to be able to work together on that because climate change is a global issue. But because we're a small island state, we'll be affected first. It's important for you to understand that. You will be affected. We will all be. I will probably be in a rocking chair, sitting somewhere looking at the seaside, watching the sea rise and not having fun. So these are things that it's probably a little deep and heavy for this morning. But the Commonwealth as an organization has to look at these issues, and there's mitigating measures being put in place. The problem with them is that the appreciation for how serious the issue is. So I need to close off now, and I'm leaving. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Independent Senator David Small. And you will have the last question today from your school, because we are approaching 11 o'clock, which is when we were originally supposed to end the session.
Good morning. My name is Alia Alexander. I'm from the Pentecostal Light and Life Foundation High School, Tobago. Welcome. My question is, how can Trinidad and Tobago assist in the development of the economics?
Development?
The economics. The economy, sorry.
The economy.
Yes, sorry. The
how can Trinidad and Tobago
economy in the
assist
in the development? I mean, how the citizens can assist, or how they... We'll figure it out, don't worry. We'll figure it out. Okay. And second question.
Economy.
Go right ahead.
My name is Clarice Thompson from the Pentecostal Light and Life High School, Tobago. And at the beginning, he said that more than 60% of youth is more than 60% of youth is involved in the Commonwealth, and I would like to know how can the youth be involved in managing the economy.
Did you get that? Everybody get that?
Yeah.
How can youth be involved?
Yeah,
They're taking ownership already.
Yeah, well, if you need to.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, I was egged on by my colleagues because in my other life, I am a professional economist. And the question was asked about how can Trinidad and Tobago develop the economy. And by that, I assume the students are asking what contribution Trinidad and Tobago perhaps can make to other Commonwealth countries in the world to develop their own economies. When we look at what Trinidad and Tobago has done, it's simply phenomenal. Trinidad and Tobago has one of the oldest oil industries in the world. Many of you perhaps do not know that in 1908, when we started in a major way to drill, the Trinidad oil industry was critical for Britain, which is really the head of the Commonwealth, because at that time, the British Navy was converting all its coal-burning ships into oil-consuming battleships. And on the eve of the First World War, 1914, Trinidad became very, very important to England and the whole Commonwealth at the time, before the Commonwealth, to the British Empire. And since then, Trinidad and Tobago has developed an expertise in the oil industry that can be shared. We have had families in this country with generations of experience in the Southland on the oil and energy industry. Senator Small is more, of course, adept at this information than I am. But we have been seeing our expertise being used in Africa, it is being used in other countries in the world, and Trinidad can share that particular experience with the rest of the world in how to exploit their own energy industry. We are seeing Guyana, for example, is a country that is looking at exploiting its energy industry, its oil industry, and Trinidad can assist there. But also, in addition to natural resources, Trinidad and Tobago has experienced over the years since independence booms and slumps. We have had periods of rising incomes, and now we are experiencing periods of declining incomes. We have had experience in dealing with the IMF. We have had an IMF adjustment programs. We know how we can get out of an economic slump. We know how to manage an economic boom. We have had lessons, and I think Trinidad and Tobago can provide a lot of lessons to members in the Commonwealth which are currently experiencing a series of economic difficulties. Trinidad and Tobago finally also has since the 1950s, pioneered a lot of basic manufacturing industry. We do have a non-oil industry. In the early 50s, there was something known as the Aid to Pioneer Industries Ordinance. If you drive on the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway and you see all the manufacturing plants, they came about from that initiative. That we had 3 5-year plans. And what Trinidad and Tobago has done, it has developed an expertise in a number of manufacturing businesses, and I think Trinidad now can share that expertise with other developing countries in the Commonwealth. We also have a burgeoning service industry. It means that there is a lot that we have from our own 50 years of experience in the post-independence era to share with other developing countries in the Commonwealth, and other developed countries in the Commonwealth can also contribute to assisting Trinidad and Tobago in further enhancing its productive capability. I hope that would answer the question. If there are any other questions on that, please feel free, but that, I think, indicates that Trinidad and Tobago, as a country with a 50-year experience in the post-independence era, has a lot to teach others, and also we have a lot to learn from the countries in the Commonwealth, the New Zealands and the Canadas and so on. We have a lot to learn from them because they have developed certain areas in the economy that we could learn, and so it always has to be a two-way process for us and for the rest of the Commonwealth, so that in retrospect, the learning has started, and your group of people will take the mantle and continue to ensure that with globalization, the free movement of ideas, the process can intensify. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahabir. And thank you very much, Dr. Kirton, for your presentation today. You've had a lot of information today in a short space of time. Shameless plug now, this is being recorded, so you can go to YouTube afterwards and review the entire thing. youtube.com/ParlView, ParlView. All right, we move on now to the launch of an essay competition surrounding Commonwealth Day. And we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to have a musical rendition, first of all. Then we are going to have remarks by a representative of one of the ministry that is key to that topic, and it is on saving energy, saving our heart. And then Madam Speaker will come to officially launch it. So in order to introduce the musical rendition. I have to introduce this person this way. He's a member of our staff. His name is Mr. Johnson Greenidge. In his day job, he's a procedural clerk assistant, but he moonlights as the two-time reigning Calypso champion of the Parliament staff when we have our Calypso competition. So I would like you to give a round of applause and welcome Mr. Johnson Greenidge.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody feeling good this morning? Yeah, I see everybody tie the tie right and the pins looking nice. Everybody here coming back. We learned a lot today about the Commonwealth, yes? Yes. You all tell me the truth after, right? Just joking. But first of all, I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause for just being here. It's really nice to see all of you all come out. All the teachers encourage you all to come out. I want to see more of that, especially I want to see more guys, more young men be a part of forums like this. Yeah, and more young men get involved in the Commonwealth. Anyway, I didn't come to waste your time. My purpose today is to help launch an essay competition held by the Parliament themed Saving Our Planet, Saving Energy. Yeah, so this morning, what we're going to do is save some energy of our own, right? I need you all to help me sing this, yeah? Some people look scared. All right, we're going to start like this, right? We're going to start with a clap. Everybody now. That's like, yeah, sounding good. Yeah. Right? I was called to put down and work for the opposition and government. Yeah, city people call me to be a clerk in Port-of-Spain for the members of Parliament. If you see how I put on fancy suit and thing, they say, Johnny boy, we want you to sing. Energy is the game, saving it is the plan. Let we show the youths how to make a stand. Well, I say we don't have to post it on Facebook, and we don't have to show them a plan. The youths them don't know what they want to say. Just put the power in their hand. So today we give you a chance to express what you want to say. If you don't like how these people using energy, write it in an essay. I say, save the planet and save the energy. Time to do something about the economy. It's your turn to save the country. This is we responsibility. Save the planet and save the energy. Let we do something about the economy. It's your turn to save the country. This is we responsibility. Keep clapping. I want you all to sing the part, you know. You gotta sing that chorus of me. Yeah? Save the planet and save the energy. Yeah, just sing that for me. Save the planet and save the energy. I like this. You're singing good, man. Save the planet and save the energy. See, Madam Speaker, again and also like that. Save the planet and save the energy. Yeah, one more time. Just save the planet and save the energy. Time to do something about the economy. It's your turn to save the country. This is we responsibility. Save the planet and save the energy. Now we do something about the economy. It's your turn to save the country. This is we responsibility. Thank you, everybody. I wish everybody good luck in the competition, and on the behalf of the staff of Parliament, I would like to say a happy Commonwealth Day to you all. Bye. Yeah.
You see why he's 2 times undefeated? We try and have it. Nobody can defeat him as yet. Put your hands together for Johnson. I would now like to welcome to the podium, and I'm very sorry, it's always difficult to follow and act like that, but I'm sure that you will make the most of it. To give remarks that explains a little more about the importance of energy in the context of the launch of this competition, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, Ms. Heidi Wong. Put your hands together for her, please.
Good morning, all. All protocols observed. My name is Heidi Wong. I'm Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Energy. Before I begin, I would like to say on behalf of my Minister of Energy, the Honorable Nicole Olivier, she sends her greetings and best wishes, and she is unable to attend today as she is participating in the International Parliamentary Conference on Sustainable Energy and Development at Westminster, London. This is one of the conferences that is put on by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the UK arm. 2 representatives from the Parliament have been nominated to attend, one of them being the Minister of Energy and the other one, MP Mr. Tiwari. For me, it is indeed a pleasure to be here with you to commemorate today's celebration of Commonwealth Day. Its objective is to provide an opportunity to promote understanding of global issues and international cooperation. And this is indeed embodied in this year's theme, An Inclusive Commonwealth. One of the key components of this theme that is critical for the sustainable development of the world is the effective and efficient use of the world's energy resources. And this has so aptly formed the theme for the competition, Saving Our Energy, Saving Our Planet. World primary energy consumption, comprising oil, natural gas, coal, nuclear, hydro, and renewables, has grown substantially over the past decades. According to the BP Statistical Review 2015, at the end of 2014, total primary consumption stood at 12.93 billion tons of oil equivalent, an increase of more than 8% over the 2010 primary consumption figure. This energy is utilized by a world population of more than 7 billion people, which is growing by an estimated 75 million people annually. By mid-2030, the world's population is expected to reach 8.4 billion people. Providing energy to meet the demands of this growing population while seeking to preserve planet Earth is a concern to all countries and to us as a member of the Commonwealth. We enjoy the benefits of using energies such as to light our homes and our towns, to power our vehicles, including water taxis, to cook our foods, drive the machinery at factories. These developments have come with some major drawbacks that, if left unchecked, will destroy our very existence as we know it today. One of these drawbacks, as we have discussed continually here today, is global warming, which stems from the emission of greenhouse gases from the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas. It is at unsafe levels. It is reported that more than 100 million tons of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere daily, and this is expected to result in the further warming of at least 3 to 4 degrees centigrade by 2100. The implications you have already heard, and some of which have been mentioned by Senator Small. The implications have far-reaching consequences for our food security, the availability of fresh water, the frequency and intensity of storms, the extinction of species of animal life. More than 140 species have already been extinct. The melting of the ice caps, which is already occurring, rising seas, bleaching of coral reefs due to warming and the acidation due to this acidic buildup, loss of plankton due to warming seas. In the context of the Caribbean, there are approximately 40 million people who live within the region and islands, and like Trinidad and Tobago, are susceptible to the impact of climate change. Higher temperatures, rises in the sea level, and increased hurricane intensity threaten lives, property, and livelihoods throughout the region. We in the Caribbean are not immune from these impending dangers, and like countries, all countries and states must take concerted efforts to minimize these shortcomings. In December 2015, the global community at the Paris Climate Conference, referred to as COP21 or CMP11, came to a decision to take affirmative action with respect to climate change. Having recognized the seriousness of the matter, the participating countries at the conference agreed to set a goal of limited global warming to less than 2 degrees compared to pre-industrial levels. In this regard, countries agreed to pursue efforts to limit temperature increase to 1.5 degrees centigrade, which will require zero emissions between 2030 and 2050, according to some scientists. Such was the magnitude of the decision that it was hailed as a turning point for the world and the best chance to save our planet. In the Paris Climate Change Agreement, countries have been requested to make every effort to implement the nationally determined measures to ensure that the global response to climate change is effective. In ensuing the mandate, the conference recognized that developing countries may take longer to achieve their climate change mitigation strategies. The challenge now for the global community is the balancing of economic and social development without creating distress and further damage to the environment. This is a major challenge, particularly to developing countries, which are striving to achieve sustainable development as signified by the eradication of poverty and food security. The challenges we face are not unsurmountable. To overcome them, we must pursue energy supply options which are cost-effective, reliable, secure, and environmentally sustainable. The options that are open to us include a greater share of renewable energy sources in the energy mix, promotion of natural gas as the preferred fossil fuel, increased energy efficiency, and energy conservation and reforestation. Initially, great emphasis was placed on changing the energy mix by promoting fuels such as natural gas, which produce lower greenhouse gas emissions compared to coal and crude oil. However, it is now recognized that substantial energy savings can be achieved from energy efficiency and energy conservation. It is estimated that approximately 1/3 of the world's energy use takes place inside buildings. Therefore, improving energy efficiency in buildings can make an enormous difference in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Similarly, with respect to manufacturing, which is responsible for 20% of the carbon dioxide emissions, energy savings can be made through the redesign and recycling of products. Additionally, the transportation sector, which uses an estimated 50% of the liquid fossil fuels, is responsible for approximately 1/4 of energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. Studies have indicated that a low-carbon transport system could reduce greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 70% with minimum additional investment. Another major drawback to our lifestyles is the accumulation of garbage. According to estimates, some 1.2 billion metric tons of municipal solid waste are collected around the world each year, and the decay of the organic portion is contributing around 5% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Waste management through recycling and other means would assist in the reduction of these gashouse emissions. Reforestation is another initiative to be undertaken in the reduction of the growth. Studies have suggested that major investment in reforestation would substantially increase forest carbon storage. The government of Trinidad and Tobago has recognized the importance of addressing climate change, both from a mitigation and adaptation perspective, and is committed to play its part as a responsible member of the global community. As a signatory to the recent Paris Agreement on climate change, the government will be promoting the efficient use of renewable resources by introducing alternative energy technologies such as solar and wind, by supporting recycling efforts and encouraging private sector investment in such areas as low-carbon technologies to create jobs within local communities and to reduce our carbon footprint. More specifically, the government is targeting to supply 10% of the country's power requirements from renewable sources. As citizens, We can do our part by practicing energy conservation in all aspects of our lives. For example, savings in the transportation sector can be realized through carpooling or electricity reduction achieved by simply turning off switches when not in use. The list of potential measures is exhaustive. I wish to remind you of several proverbs that our forefathers and grandparents have taught us in managing our daily lives. Waste not, want not. Save for a rainy day. Practice thrift or else we drift. Prevention is better than cure. These are even more relevant today as they were then. Think what success we can have globally if applied to saving energy and increasing the efficiency and conservation of energy. Climate change has brought the world to a turning point where we must take positive action or face the dire consequences. The path ahead is clear, and through cooperation and collaboration of all countries, we can look forward to a brighter future. We, as members of the Commonwealth, must continue to do our part. To you, students, I wish you much success in participating in the upcoming essay writing competition. Save our energy, save our planet, and hope that through your efforts, you can bring more increased awareness of the need to conserve our energy. I thank you, and happy Commonwealth Day to all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Heidi Wong. Now I would like to call Madam Speaker to the podium to officially launch our essay competition. Put your hands together for Madam Speaker.
Okay, in keeping with the theme, I am going to be saving energy. I'm not going to say much more. But to say this, we shared a lot with you all today. I would want to think that two things I would be happy if you took away with you. One, we have created some good structures for cooperation and problem solving on the international level. Okay, so that's through the Commonwealth. But we've also told you all we have a problem, a big problem. And the problem is, and Senator Small couldn't be more graphic when he told us about, is it the climate cutoff date? Climate departure date. 2032 might seem like a long way ago. But in the recent past, when I was a child, I used to remember writing 2000, the year 2000, and I used to say, Lord, 2000, you know, what I'll be? That real far in the future. And I sat and I saw 2000 come and go, and 16 years from 2000 have gone. Most of you all were born after 2000. In fact, all of you all would have been born after 2000. No? You were born what, in 2000? Well, exactly. Okay? And just think about it. 16 years have gone. Okay? And take my word for it. The next 16 years will fly faster than it took you to cover these first 16 years. So the problem is real. We've realized that youths have a lot of answers. As adults, we tend to take on the problems and feel we alone could solve them. And my most graphic experience of that is many years ago, I was sitting there and just voicing my frustration about not being able to collect monies from people for work that I did. And one of my daughters at the time, she was about 11. I wasn't speaking to her, I was just speaking out loud. And she was there doing her own business, and she just turned to me and she said, but mommy, people owe you money, and you're not getting it? So why you don't charge them interest? And I sat down and I said, but hey, but she have a point there. So all I'm trying to say is, as Mr. Greenwich told us, you all have the solutions. He said the youths and them don't know what they want to see. We want to hear what you have to say about a problem that we all face. And that is what the essay competition is about. It's going to come to your principals tomorrow. It's a manual saying the topics and so on and the prizes. We also want you all here to be like our ambassadors, to tell your friends from other schools who may not have had the opportunity to come and share with us today. It is a group project, and the group is anything up to 8 students. So we really look forward to hear. We said a lot today, a lot. We want you all to talk back to us on the topic of saving the energy, saving the planet. Okay, so I now declare the essay competition open. It starts tomorrow. You have a month to send in the essays in whatever creative format to their certain topics. Okay, so I wish you all well, and I say let the conversation with us begin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At this point, I would like to invite to the podium to give the vote of thanks our other presiding officer. As you know, Parliament consists of 2 chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Speaker presides over the House of Representatives, and the President of the Senate, who also, by the way, acts as President of the Republic when His Excellency is out of the country or ill, presides over the Senate. So, put your hands together to welcome Senator the Honorable Christine Kangaloo, the President of the Senate, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairman of today's proceedings. Honorable Bridgid Annisette-George, Speaker of the House, members of the Executive Committee of the Trinidad and Tobago Branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, His Excellency Gerard Latulippe, High Commissioner of Canada, other High Commissioners and Honorary Consuls of Commonwealth countries resident in Trinidad and Tobago or their representatives, other members of Parliament, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, Ms. Heidi Wong, teachers, students, members of the media, all other distinguished persons present. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, to bring the vote of thanks on the occasion of Commonwealth Day 2016. First, may I express our gratitude to the High Commissioners and Honorary Consuls of Commonwealth jurisdictions and their representatives for participating today in our celebration of Commonwealth Day 2016. We also thank you in advance for interacting with the students afterwards, because we think that that is also very important for the students to learn more, not just through the formal presentation. I want to give a special thanks to His Excellency Gerard Latulippe, the High Commissioner for Canada, for his very warm greetings on this day, to Dr. Mark Kirton of the Diplomatic Academy of the West Indies. May I offer to you our gratitude for your very fascinating presentation on the role of Trinidad and Tobago in the Commonwealth and of the role of the Commonwealth in the development of our global perspectives. It was a very, very interesting presentation because it showed us, for example, that some of the policies that we have adopted in Trinidad and Tobago are actually, policies such as CDAP and GATE, are actually aligned to what we want to see happening throughout the Commonwealth by way of policy initiatives. We also learned today through his presentation that 60% of the 2 billion population of the members of the Commonwealth are all under 30 years of age. So once again, I felt like I was in the minority. Once again. So you young students are therefore the leaders, and you are in the majority even as we look at the population of our Commonwealth countries. To the members of Parliament here, I thank you for giving of your time to come and celebrate and to meet and greet and to discuss things with our young students. I want to especially thank the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, who the Senator Dr. Daneshwar Mahabir and Senator Dr. David Small for answering some of the questions that were posed by the students and for answering it in such a way that our students could understand and accept some of the issues that affect us in the Commonwealth. So thank you very much. To the schools, thank you for participating. And to the students who stepped up and asked questions, thank you for your courage, because sometimes we forget that we can sit quietly, but the fact that you stood up and lent your voice to the debate and to the whole conversation that we've been having, we were really grateful. So we thank you for participating, and we thank the teachers who will continue, even after today, continue the conversations about what the role of Trinidad and Tobago in the Commonwealth. So we thank you for that. Of course, we look forward to your contributions to the essay competition. We look forward to hearing what you think can be done to save energy and save our planet. You can't hear it enough. The future lies with you. So what you say to us is important, and we want to hear what you think should be done and how you can contribute on this very, very important topic. We had some entertainers today. The very first was Allan the entertainer. And Allan the entertainer reminded those of us over 30 about what it was like to get licks in school. I was one of those. So he brought back those not very good memories. But we thank him for his presentation. Then we had Ariel John and Michael Logie from the 2 Cent movement. Ariel John in particular, both presentations were stimulating, but Ariel John spoke about finding your voice, and to our young people, find your voice. Today, we held this celebration for you to find your voice. We are having the essay competition for you to find your voice. So we thank the entertainers. Of course, we had our very own entertainer from the Parliament, who we as the members of staff in the Parliament, we are very grateful to Mr. Greenwich for his contribution today. It's good to know that we have all this talent and we may be tapping into it more than he may like. So ladies and gentlemen, I think the last group or body that I should thank will be the members of staff of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, who once again I stand here and I thank for their human service in putting this program together. And I believe that we've had a successful morning. It is not yet ended because we are going to ask everyone to join us for a reception in the Arnold Thomas's room on level 6. And we look forward to interacting with you there as well. And I say Happy Commonwealth Day 2016, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Allow me first to thank our viewing audience who have been looking on at the Parliament channel. It's at this time that we end today's proceedings. Thank you very much. For you internally, at this point in time, we would like you to please stand. What we're going to do, before you stand, just explain the process. First, we stand so that our presiding officers will depart and they return to their offices. Next, our guests, our members of Parliament, our EXCO members, and our high commissioners and diplomats, they will be escorted to our diplomatic reception lounge, and then you will be escorted to the 6th floor. Because there's so many of you, it may take some time, at which point when you are settled there, then our members of parliament who are still here and our presiding officers will come and join you. All right? So now you can stand for the departure of our presiding officers.